I don't know about you, but when I'm writing an essay that requires Plato's forms, I am immediately negative. The whole discussion turns into me saying the word no over and over, and obviously this is lacking a bit of balance. So today I'm going to remind myself and you what problems the forms solved for Plato and why they're not all bad. Firstly, you've got to remember what the forms actually are. Well, what are they? Okay, so we've already encountered a criticism. They're incredibly vague. Plato doesn't sit us down and explain in detail. He refers to them a lot like we already know. Presumably this is because his original audience already knew, and well, if they didn't, they could have just asked him. But anyway, for Plato, the forms are the perfect examples of themselves. They are the perfect version of a particular that you will find before you. So, you see a blue chair in your classroom. That object is a particular that will in some way resemble the form of blue and the form of chair. Okay, here's where the forms work. The chair sits before you at this exact moment in time, in that exact position in space. It might have been mass-produced, it's not the only blue thing in the world, it's not the only chair in the world. But what do blue things have in common? What do all chairs have in common? The words blue and chair don't only refer to the single thing sat in front of you. So what do they refer to? The answer is that they are universals. Blue is a universal term that can encompass many things. All blue things, to be precise. Universals are what particulars have in common, and if we say that these universals exist as a separate entity, then they're in fact Plato's forms. Hey, look at that, one down, more to go. Okay, so another problem that the forms tackle. This was proposed by one of Plato's contemporaries, Heraclitus. Now, he had a few interesting ideas, one of which referring to how everything was made of fire. But the relevant idea was that this world is in a state of perpetual flux. So what does that mean? Hot things cool down, the wind starts and stops blowing, living things die, and everything is in the process of becoming something that it wasn't before. This view, that you can never stand in the same river twice, consequently leads you to say that this ever-changing world cannot be an object of knowledge. I mean, by the time you say, I know a cloud is blocking the sun, the wind will have blown it away. You'll look like an idiot. Why would you say that? So, how is it, believing this? Could Plato still allow for human beings to have knowledge? Well, if you can't have knowledge of something that changes, you need to make these objects of knowledge eternal and unchanging. Likewise, if you can't have knowledge of this world, have it of another one. That then might be reflected in this one. Hopefully you've already got it. That's the forms. Okay, let's move on to something a little bit simpler. Let's start with perfection. I assume you're familiar with the concept, and also the idea that you can't have it. The closest example of perfection I can think of is Beyoncé, but even then, she is unfortunately going to die one day, which means that one day this world will be without her. She's in this world, she's changing, she's obviously not eternal, and therefore Plato won't let me call her perfect. Now think, how do you even have the idea of perfection? You've never truly encountered it. Perhaps Plato is onto something, maybe you've met the form. It certainly answers that question. Another thing that's almost the exact same argument is the concept of equality. Say I've got one biscuit left. My friend is over, and for once I'm not going to be rude and selfish, but she's already seen in my eyes how much I really want to stuff my face with that biscuit. So the loving and kind person that she is, she suggests that we split it in half and have equal amounts of biscuity goodness. If you've ever tried to share something, you'll know that splitting this biscuit precisely equally is impossible. It'll always be a bit off, even if it's only by one crumb. It's still not exact. And you can take this one step further, down to the atom. It's actually impossible. Yet, we still operate with this notion of equality, without having physically encountered it. So there we go, another thing in Plato's favour. Okay. Last and perhaps least understood is the paradox of inquiry. You'll have to bear with me, I'll make it as simple as I can. but if you've ever actually tried to understand Doctor Who, you'll know how hard paradoxes are. So let's begin by stating the obvious. The sky is blue. Don't question that, just take it as a fact for now that the sky is blue. Is the sky blue? Yes, it's true. I'm out in my garden writing this right now, and I can see for myself that the sky is blue. It's right there, I don't need to ask. I do not need to inquire as to whether or not the sky is blue, because it is, and I know that. But what if I didn't know? I don't know if the sky is blue or not. I don't even know what the sky is. What's blue? If I don't know what either of these things are, how could I possibly form an intelligent question? How could I ask, is the sky blue? Think about it. The words blue and sky are both totally meaningless to me. It's like asking, is the blah blah? Yes? No? Great! Either way, that does nothing for me. I need to understand both the concepts of blue and sky before I can ask anything. But surely, if I know what the sky is, I probably also know what blue is. And I know that the sky is blue, given that blueness is its main feature here. So that means if I know an answer, obviously I don't need to inquire. But if I don't know, then I can't inquire. I hope you understand how I just reached that conclusion. Maybe rewind, watch that again. But to get past this paradox, we would need knowledge to be present on an innate level. We need some base to be working off in order for us to know enough to ask. And what knowledge would this be? For Plato, it's knowledge of the forms. And we're done! Those are some of the main reasons you can write about when explaining the forms, what they mean, what they achieve. And remember, they do actually serve a purpose for Plato. They helped him answer some very difficult questions, and very efficiently too. I hope you've got a good understanding from this, or at least, I hope I've cleared up some things for you. Thank you!